I hope you're doing well. I came home yesterday and was really tired after a doctor's appointment and crawled into bed and was like, I am in the mood to watch a plant video. Like, just watch plant videos. I don't want to make anything, I don't want to think, I don't want to do anything, I just want to watch them. And I honestly don't watch plant videos that much. I'm always kind of doing my own thing, and if I feel good enough to kind of be paying attention, I'm kind of doing my own thing lately. But I do love watching other people's plants and stuff when I get a chance. And so I sat down to do that, and in my feed popped up this this lovely plant video called something like Succulent Tag Challenge video, and I was like, what's that? And so I clicked on it, and it was so much fun. It was someone, I think the first one was someone that I had never known before, and then I saw that Marija, I hope that's how you pronounce your name, or Marija, from Succulent Living. I saw that she had done one, and we chat back and forth some, so I was like, oh, I want to see that because I love getting to know people a little bit more. And so I watched hers and commented on hers. I thought that they had just made them and put them out, and evidently it's from December, and somehow it only just now popped up in my feed. Don't know why, but I'm super glad it did. And what it is just kind of a list of questions that different succulent growers are answering, just to kind of help people get to know them a little bit better, I guess. And it's a lot of fun. And so she commented back, well, you have to do one now. And I couldn't very well say no, since I was enjoying everyone else's so much. So here I am to answer this lovely list of questions. I have my little notebook here because there's no way I can keep all of these on the top of my head. But I apologize ahead of time. This will be a long video because there's quite a lot of questions and I'm not very short-winded. So pardon me. Anyways, I believe Alex from Windowsill Succulent Gardening created this. I could be wrong. If it was someone else, I am so sorry. But I think it was Alex, and if so, thank you, Alex. This is so much fun. I've never seen a tag challenge whatsoever. I'm kind of social media challenged, and I'm just learning how everything like works. I just joined Instagram and couldn't figure out how the heck people were finding my photos. I was like, I just posted it. How are you liking it? I haven't even told anyone yet. And so my friend had to explain to me how hashtags work. I thought it just categorized them into a section so that later people could go and see, oh, what's in the Messim section? Because she's like, well, you're using hashtags. I was like, yeah, but that's to put it in a file. And she was like, oh, honey, let me explain. Not quite, but she explained it to me, and it makes so much sense now, and I understand that part of it. But I haven't been around very many social media type things like this or challenges, and have certainly never done one. And so it was super, I'm excited because it was so much fun to see. I guess maybe if you've known about the idea for a while, it would seem kind of normal, but to me it was novel and super fun to get to know people a little bit more. So I wrote all of the questions down. Hopefully I got them all. And here we go. The first one is, how long have you been growing cacti and succulents? That depends. This current collection has all been in the last about 6 years. With maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. There may be a couple aloe or things like that that I've had for a long time. But this collection is all within the last, 6 years-ish. And a lot of them in the last 3 years in particular. And so, but before then, I had, my grandma grew aloe and stuff. My main passion for a lot of years was herbs, and still is one of my biggest passions. So aloe I kind of considered an herb because of the medicinal properties, and so I had that, and then I liked it so much that I started looking into other succulents, and particularly some of the cold hardy sempervivums and sedums and stuff. But when I really started getting into it was about 1997, and we went to an estate sale that had a bunch of plants that were being sold off after this person had died, and I thought I was in heaven because they only wanted a couple dollars a piece for them, and I could never afford, as a kid, I was what, 12, 13, and I could never afford, the expensive ones at the store, and so I was like, oh my goodness. And so I went home with a huge armload of all these pots, and large, you know, Thanksgiving cacti and stuff like that, and I was just in heaven. And so that started my obsession with indoor plants. I had been very obsessed with outdoor plants before then, grew up in a gardening family with a grandmother that's very, very into it, and my family gardened a lot as well, and did various landscaping. I loved plants and would bring outdoor plants indoors to save them from the winter and etc., but not indoor plants as much until about 1997, and that's when I started hoarding plants, and that's when my room started looking like a jungle, and I started really diving into researching. I read everything I could get my hands on. My mom purchased hundreds of gardening books, and we always picked them up at yard sales. I read through encyclopedias on plants. I totally was a nerdy child and loved all that stuff. I took the Master Gardening program, went through that course, and got that done right around that same time period, which was super helpful in learning about our area and some of the specific things here, because I grew up in Texas and we moved to Idaho in 1996 to a 40-acre farm, and we had a huge garden and orchard, and so everything just kind of went from there. So that's when my love started. But in the meantime, in between this current collection and that, my mother got cancer, and I ended up devoting all of my energy and taking care of her, and my plant collection suffered a lot. And after that, I went to school in Europe for a while, and my family, my dad and younger sister, still have a few of my original houseplants, you know, and cacti and different things. Actually, I don't know if any of the cacti survived. I don't actually know. I haven't been up there in a while, but I know my sister said that there's a few of them still left around in the house because she loves plants as well, and she's taken them under her wing. But lost my thought. Anyways, that in between that time, I had a period of not having many indoor plants. I lived in an apartment complex that just was not conducive to indoor plants, and I had a very, very full life with school. I was studying music and working at the hospital as a nurse's assistant for quite a few years in the emergency room, and so I just had a lot going on and didn't have a lot, which it's kind of funny now. My husband teases me that I married him under false pretenses because he knew I loved plants, but he didn't know how much of a plant nerd I was. And he's like, your apartment wasn't full enough of plants to give me an accurate idea of how deep it went. And so he teases me about it. He loves my plants. He does so much, you guys. He waters them when I can't. He builds things for me and shelves and helps when I'm super sick, and never bats an eye other than to playfully tease me, you know, about the hordes of plants that I have and whatnot. Yeah, I better move on to the next question. Okay, getting run away. Anyways, but this current collection is just in the last about 6 years, and a lot of them in the last 3. And so I've been, a plant nerd and research geek for a long time, but the succulents are fairly new. What was your first cactus and succulent is the next question, and I think I answered that. The aloe and the Thanksgiving cactus were my first 2. The aloe would have been definitely first. I just considered it an herb, never really thought about categorizing it as a succulent, even though of course it is. But back then, you know, 20 years ago, at least in Idaho, there wasn't much succulent talk. You couldn't find them in any stores, you know, hardly. You couldn't find them at Home Depot. They were, you know, aloe, yes, but not a lot of other things. So anyways, what other plants do you grow? Kind of answered that. Herbs are a huge love of mine. I had my first herb business, or my only herb business, back a lot of years ago. I actually started when I was 14. My mom kind of laughed at me and said, sure, you can start a business. Nurseries aren't going to buy from you, nor are you going to get licensed, but I got my grower's license and did all of my inspections in my greenhouse. I had a huge herb garden, and I paid for everything myself as a kid. So my mom was like, fine, if you can do it, you can do it. And she was nice enough to drive me around to nurseries in the area, which is, there's about a 200-mile just radius here, a loop that has a bunch of little towns because we don't have any major towns around here. And they were excited about the plants that I had. A lot of the herbs that I grew then, you can find a lot of places now really easily, but back then it feels so weird saying back then. Like, I feel way too young just being in my mid-30s to say back then, but whatever. 20 years ago, it was a lot harder to find some of these certain herbs in cultivation, and so the nurseries were very excited when I came with these rare herbs, and that was a blast, and I loved that and have continued. I still have herbs outside and I'm constantly adding to my herb garden here on this new property, but herbs are one of my main loves. As far as house plants though, I have orchids, I have, you know, various and sundry things. I have, wow, I'm just staring at a tree and totally spacing. The Norfolk Island pines. I have, you know, some pothos, lipstick plants, just various and sundry things. Basically, I get other than succulent plants to kind of stuff in between on the shadier areas of my house because I love it looking like a jungle, but everywhere can't be succulents because they need more light, etc. So I tend to have more kind of not shade loving houseplants, but more not as bright light needing houseplants, because my succulents definitely take the priority. They get the grow lights, they get the brightest windows if they're needing them. So quite a few other plants, but succulents are definitely my main focus right now. What are your 3 favorite genus? That's hard. I'm gonna go with messemes. I know that's a large genus, but I adore messemes. They are just amazing. Haworthia, gonna go with them. They're just so fat and amazing, and their leaves and their windows and their colors and their shapes, just so good. And probably epiphytes. I love a lot of the epiphytes. I don't know why, I just think they're so cool, and I don't have that many. I have, you know, maybe a dozen or 2, and which is probably a lot now that I'm saying that out loud. For me, compared to all of the other plants, it seems like I only have a few, but I really enjoy them. They're a little bit harder to find up here, and I haven't ordered many yet, just because I've been focusing on other things and messemes and stuff. So, so I'll go with those 3 categories. What are your 5 favorite plants? Oh dear. I should have like written out answers to these so that it wouldn't be so long. Okay, if there was a fire right this moment, if my house caught on fire without hardly thinking, and I was grabbing 5 plants to run out, I would probably grab my Granovia, my lovely little aeoniums. I love the Granovia. Some Conophytum, probably a couple Haworthia, and probably a couple epiphytes would probably be what I would grab and run with. But I love them all. That's really hard. What is your least favorite plant? Oh. Pardon me, I'm gonna have a drink. That's really hard. I really like a lot of plants. I can't think of any I don't like. I'm gonna say Graptosedum or Graptivarium just because here in Idaho, and before you hate me, hear me out. Here in Idaho, they just kind of stay kind of green. The sun isn't super intense unless they're outdoors in the summer or under a grow light, and so they just kind of flow along. They're not thriving. They're not looking beautiful like you see in the photos. If I lived in California or somewhere like that where they could be outdoors, I think they are gorgeous and I love them. But here for me, they're one of the ones that kind of look kind of sad or puny unless they're getting really good light. And I have so many others that I just find so compelling that need my light, so they just don't get the priority. So I'm gonna have to go with that probably, but it's not because I don't like them, it's just because here they're more difficult. They're more difficult for me, and they take up a bit more of my sun space than I want to give them. And then they still just kind of look okay. It's just not quite intense enough here. All right, what is your least favorite plant? We did that. How many plants do you have? Oh dear, I feel like being in a court of law and being like, I plead the 5th. I have the right not to incriminate myself. I don't know is the answer. I have no idea. I do know about how many pots I have. I have between 450 and 500 potted plants, so indoor, you know, that's not all of the succulents planted outside that are cold hardy. That's not those. The indoor ones that I primarily do videos on, all of the more tender succulents, I have 400 to 500 pots. I know it's more than 450, but I don't know exactly how many. I haven't gone through and just counted each one. But I like my pots being crowded. Like I'm staring at an aloe right here there's at least 30 plants in this cluster. It's a big golden tooth aloe. And my plants do much better when they're crowded. They like having friends. I always feel bad for houseplant lovers that then get into succulents, because with a lot of more tropical houseplants, when they get root bound, it's really bad. And when they start getting to the edge of their pots or they put off offshoots, you need to separate them to keep them healthy so that they don't suck the living daylights out of the mother plant, etc. And for succulents, it's kind of the opposite. And so I always feel bad. I always kind of can identify houseplant growers that then have just started getting into succulents, because they're the ones that are like, oh no, it put off a baby, you need to put them in the separate pots right away. And it's like, oh no, actually not really for succulents. But anyways, so if you counted every single plant, like there's thousands of them. I don't even know. I don't know. There's a lot. If you've seen like my Haworthia cluster that I was repotting the other day, the Haworthia retusa, which I have a couple clusters, but the big one, I've never thought to like count how many plants there are, but I'm sure there's 100 at least. I don't know, but there's a lot. But anyways, we'll just leave it with a lot. What is your plant setup? Mostly indoors. Windows, cupboards, every nook and cranny possible. I have 2 grow tents, a larger one upstairs, a smaller one that's in our shop that's full of messemes. We have an attached garage to our house. Pardon me, my voice is cracking. We have an attached garage that stays cooler, but it doesn't freeze. And so I can put a lot of the plants that need a bit of a cool rest period to bloom or whatever out there. There's a large window out there that a lot of them go in, or the grow tent also that's out there that most of my messemes are in. And then I have a larger grow tent upstairs with other plants in that rotate in and out. We're hoping this year to build a greenhouse. Finally, I haven't had a greenhouse in quite a few years, and I love, oh my goodness, yeah, watch out world if I get a greenhouse. But anyways, for now, it's just my house, and we have a pretty small little house, so there's a lot of plants packed in here, and I love it. So yeah, let's see. Have you ever lost a big or expensive plant? No, not really. I haven't. I have lost plenty of plants, don't get me wrong, plenty of plants, but mostly, you know, separating pups off or cuttings and then they get forgotten or things like that. Or the plant comes to me and it has a little bit of rot and the rot just goes crazy, you know, some kind of an infection or something. So it wasn't like I had it and fell in love. And it's super sad when you get a new plant and then it dies right away. It's totally sad, but it's not quite the same as, oh, this was my treasured plant that I had for 20 years and it died. Like, that's super sad. I've been really, really fortunate to not lose many of my plants that I really, really love or that I've had for the longest period of time. Most of the time it's new plants that have something wrong that I didn't see or that got shipped or damaged or something like that. Okay. What is your plant set? I know we did that. Have you ever lost a big expensive plant? Expensive, not too much. I did lose, I had ordered some bronzia a while back, and they're a beautiful little trailing succulent, and I've wanted one for quite a long time, and I finally found them and ordered them. I did a video on it. They were imported and looking pretty shriveled. They never recovered. None of their roots would wake up, and they had little spots that were some kind of a bacteria or fungus or infection that just spread. I thought maybe it was just me, except for that they came with one of them came and then it spread. But I talked to other people who had ordered from the same place, and theirs did exactly the same thing. So I don't feel too bad about it, but it was sad, and I would like to have another one. Okay, what is on your wish list? Well, there we go. I would like to have another one of those, and so I will keep my eyes open for those. It's too cold right now to order, so but I will keep my eye open for some more of those. I have quite a few messemes that are still on my wish list. I have a lot of plants that are on my wish list. For as many plants as I've had, you'd think I'd be like, oh no, I'm good. But there's always new exciting ones that are just like, oh my goodness, I want it. And so we'll see. I'm sure I'll continue to add. Nothing that's just like I'm deeply hunting for right this moment. Just I would like to find them. I would like to find some more Denteranthus. I had ordered 2 last year. The first one came baked in the mail. The second one came half baked, and I tried to recover it and it just would not recover. It kind of stayed halfway okay, looking on the very top of the leaves for a few months, but I finally had to throw it out, so I would like some more of those. Gibeum, I only have one, and I would really like a couple other varieties of those guys. And epiphytes, I would love to add some more epiphytes in, some of the different blooming ones, especially the ones that have bigger blooms. I have an orchid cactus and then the Easter cactuses and stuff, but and Thanksgiving and whatnot that bloom really nicely, but I would love to add some more of those to my list. And peperomia, I don't know why, I love some of the creeping, really or fatter leaved types of peperomia. They just make me happy. Okay, what made you share on YouTube? Funny story. So I was trapped in bed and found out that you could order plants online because Succulent ships so well. Of course I had ordered plants, but I just wasn't thinking about how compact a lot of succulents are and how easily they would ship. And so I found out that there was a couple places that I wanted to try to order from, and so when the boxes arrived in the mail, I opened them all up and was so excited, and I thought, you know what, I should video this. I didn't do an unboxing, but I videoed my plants so that then I could look back in a year or two or whatever and see how much they had grown. And oops, sorry, I had to adjust my legs here. And so I videoed them just for me, not intending to show anyone else. But then my phone ran out of memory space, and so I needed to upload them somewhere, and our computer was dead, and we didn't have anyone that was able to fix Macs, our MacBook in the area at the time, and so that was kind of just put on the side, so I couldn't really download it to a hard drive or anything because I didn't have a computer. And I thought, you know what, I have a YouTube account because I watch yoga videos and different health videos and things. I think I can upload it on there and no one will see it because no one knows who I am and no one would look at my stuff. But then it can just store it for me, and then I can go back and watch them whenever I want. And I was a very newbie to YouTube, obviously, and I did not know that you needed to make your videos unlisted or private for people not to see them. I thought you had to share your link for people to find them, and I didn't tell anyone. I didn't even tell my husband at first, and much less a friend or anything like that. So I uploaded some unboxing videos to YouTube, and then I started thinking, you know what, I need something to occupy myself, so to speak. I had a very large, and still do, but a very large group on essential oils. I love herbs. I'm an herbalist. I am a certified aromatherapist. I love geeking out on the medicinal side of plants, in addition to the growing side. And I enjoyed teaching and doing classes and all kinds of stuff there, but not on video, and only written. And so I was backing off from that group because with being so sick, dealing with other people that were sick was just too, it was just too much for me, you know. And I'm not trying to minimize the importance of your plants. It's not like I'm saying, oh, I don't have the energy to deal with people's actual medical conditions, but I can talk to people about their plants, because if their plants die, that's no big deal. I don't mean that, but there is a certain amount less of just stress that comes when you're talking to someone about growing a plant versus how to use it for their health, and all of the questions of, this is what's wrong with my daughter, and this is what medication she's on, and will these essential oils react with that medication in any way? Those type of questions were the ones that I was getting. I was basically doing kind of the same thing that I'm doing with plants, only with medicinal essential oils and herbs via my group, in that I was tearing things apart and going, well, based on the chemistry of this essential oil, these are the potential hazards or whatever, and trying to take some more complicated ideas that are very well researched but not really well disseminated to the public, so to speak. And there seemed to be a lack of that online when I was starting my group, and so that was my goal. But there's just a lot more pressure, I guess, when it's someone's health, I feel like, and it was just weighing on me, and there was drama and just, you know, this oil company and that oil company and who do you promote, and it was just I was just too far gone with my health to be able to deal with that kind of, sorry, my kitty's joining me here, with that kind of pressure. No, this is the camera, sweetie babes. Okay. And so I was thinking, what could I do with plants or herbs or my passion that would be less intense, but would give me something to do, something to wake up for, something to think about. And the thing that came to my mind was making videos on plant health and actual care, not what they do for your body. And so I thought, you know what, when I'm well, I might want to do that. So why not practice while I'm sick? No one wants to watch me in bed talking about stuff. No one wants to see a shaky camera because I can barely stand up trying to video a video. I was very, very deathly ill. So I didn't think anyone was going to watch it. That was not my intention. I just thought I should start practicing. And so I decided when I was doing things with my plants to start videoing them and talking to camera as if I was making a plant video, even though I wasn't on purpose, or I thought I wasn't because I thought no one could see them. Anyways, so that's what I started doing. I started just talking about what I was doing as if I was talking to the camera or to someone so that I could get comfortable with it, because if you would have asked me, would you rather make a video that people will see of you just like videoing your face or stab yourself with a needle, I would have been like, stab myself with a needle 100 times. I am not doing a video. I'm not shy per se, but I am an introvert and I just don't like doing videos. Now I'm much better, and yeah, I'll get to that. Anyways, so I was just doing them for practice. Well, one day I got on to upload a video and I saw that one of my other videos said like 27 views, which I know is nothing, but still, I was like, wait, what? Who's watching my... I thought no one could see this, and I immediately Googled, like, how are people seeing my videos, and found out that you need to put that as private or unlisted. So I went on and put all of my videos as unlisted, like all of them. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe people are seeing this. No one was supposed to see this. This is practice. This is me being sick and just kind of talking. I'm not making a plan. I don't have a list of what I'm going to talk to you guys about. I just am rambling while I'm doing whatever. And so I was horrified, and I ended up telling my husband that night. He was like, what's going on? And I was like, I'm upset. And he was like, why? And I was like, well, I was doing these plant videos and having fun, and then because I thought no one could see them, and now people saw them and I didn't realize it, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And he was just like, okay, let me get this straight. So because people watched your videos, you took them all down? And I was like, well, I didn't take them down. I just made them private because they're for me. They're not for their practice, you know? And he was like, well, if people want to watch what you're putting out now, why wouldn't you let them? And I was like, because then like it just looks, I don't know what I thought, honestly. Like I tried to think back to what it felt like, but it felt like I just can't. I have to be professional and, you know, whatever. And so anyways, with coaxing from my sweet dear husband, I decided I put them all back public again, but still, I didn't tell a friend, I didn't tell anyone that I was doing these because I didn't want people to see, but I was like, well, if a few people stumble across it, that'll be fine. Well, here we are now, and I don't quite know how we got here, but I am having so much fun. You guys tolerate me being in bed, and if I can make videos laying in bed, then it's a lot of fun. If I have to be up and my blood pressure crashes and everything goes wonky, then that's more difficult, and I would have to wait for a couple of years to do videos, or at least another year if I did that. And so, what made you share on YouTube? It was an accident. But a very happy accident. I have met so many great people on here. Really, it's brought me so much joy. I am so glad I did not know to make them all private. I am so tickled. Yeah, I am really having a lot of fun, and you get to see all of my practice, I guess, because this was just all intended to be practice yapping. So anyways, And then after people started interacting more and commenting more, I was just like, what the heck? Why not just share? If people don't want to see me in bed, they won't watch. And if they think the camera's shaky or my voice is cracky or weird, whatever. And if I upload 10 videos one day and then don't upload anything for 2 weeks, oh well, because I thought you have to have a schedule, right? And you have to have Monday and Friday or whatever. I don't know what I thought, but I thought it. And I just thought, yeah, that's not me, and it wouldn't be fun, and it would be stressful, and I can't do that right now. And so I'm not, but here I am. Anyways, that was way too long of an answer. I am sharing on YouTube because it was an accident that turned into a ton of fun, and now I'm having so much fun. I love interacting with you guys and seeing all of your plants, and being able to share my geeky things that make me excited and have someone else be excited about them is super, super fun, because in just my normal life, there aren't very many people that are geeky plant nerds like me, so I don't talk about it much. Like, most people that know me probably don't even know that I am a research geek on plants and love doing that. They know I have plants or like plants, but you know, that's it. Just normal plant stuff. Not so much, but it's really fun connecting with other equally passionate growers online. And I haven't met a ton of people yet, but the people that I've met are just are so fantastic. So anyways, that's how I got to making YouTube videos. Last question: what is your other main hobby other than plants? Oh dear. I have so many hobbies and passions that I don't quite know what to do. This is the only question that I asked my husband about ahead of time, and he was no help. Not quite, but I was just like, what am I supposed to say to this? Because I don't know. And he was like, just say what you like. But it's a really long list, and I enjoy so many things. Arts and crafts and music and cooking and canning and preserving and making herbal tinctures and cough syrups and all kinds of, you know, medicinal properties or products from herbs. I love making skincare products. That was one of my very first businesses as well, way before, you know, making your own lotions and lip balms was popular, way before you could find recipes online and stuff. I had to come up and formulate my own. I actually formulated a line of skincare products for a doctor out of Colorado about 10 years ago. That was fun. I thought, a friend of mine that was a patient of his said, hey, he needs a line of products for all of these patients that are really restricted in what they can use based on certain health conditions and things, and he can't find a line that he can recommend across the board. And I told him about you, and I told him how crazy you are and how much you like chemistry and formulating stuff, and he said he wants you to formulate stuff for him. And I laughed. I was like, ah, yeah, a doctor's not randomly gonna tell some chick from Idaho that, hey, I want you to formulate products for me. But it was real, and it happened, and it was a lot of fun to do. It wasn't a huge line of products that I did for him, just, you know, basic shampoo, conditioner, lotions, soaps, body wash, and then some serums, and then a makeup line, a mineral makeup line. And it was a huge challenge. It was tons of fun because I couldn't use most natural ingredients. Even though they were natural, I couldn't use most of those because his patients had allergies to them. And so it was just a very mind-stretching thing to do. I had to experiment a ton and just trying to figure out how to make things work with the very restricted ingredient list that was allowed for these particular patients. And a blast. And I still love doing stuff like that. I had a store here in town for about 6 years that I had to close a couple years ago when I got deathly ill, and that was a blast. I repurposed a lot of old stuff, did a lot of refinishing of furniture and painting and kind of shabby chic type stuff. I love sewing and knitting and crocheting and felting, and so all of that was incorporated into my store. I'll put a link just for kicks and giggles in the description box to my Facebook page for my store. It's closed. You can't buy anything. There's nothing there, so this is not an advertisement in any which way, but if you're curious the kind of stuff that I like to do or make, you can look through a lot of photos on there, and a lot of what you will see is stuff that I've made. Everything from, you know, headbands to furniture that's repainted to soaps and lotions and candles, and I just blanked out, but a lot of other, you know, hats and just random things. I really enjoyed doing that, and this was a fabulous area. I opened the store because our house is so tiny and I had no room to make the products that I needed to make for my skincare line for this doctor, and because no manufacturer would take over it for me, because we couldn't use the preservatives that they required for large batch manufacturing, so I had to do it all, and I had help. But anyways, we opened the store because I needed extra room to make my stuff, and I was like, it's a tiny little town. Our town is, what, 900 and something people, and so I didn't expect to have much business. I just thought I'll be able to work on all of my projects, and then a few people will trickle in, and I can do my painting and crafts and different things and have oils and herbs. I had bulk herbs and oils and stuff available, and I can do all of that, and then if people come in, hey, I can interact and then get back to my, you know, lotion making, basically. And it didn't turn out that way. From the moment I opened, we had a good steady stream of customers, and I rarely could get anything done unless I locked the doors and turned off the lights. So it turned into a business instead of a place to do my other business. But it was fun. I met so many amazing local people because I was new to the area at that time. I don't know how I would have ever met, you know, all of the people that I did. I'm so thankful for that. But that was a huge passion and hobby, and I'll put a link in case anyone wants to scroll through just for kicks and giggles to see that. So yeah, my interests, I'm sorry you guys, are really broad. I love plants though. I love so many different aspects. If I had to pick one thing, it would be plants. And that includes medicinal use and how they affect the body systems, and making lotions and tinctures and salves and all kinds of stuff with the plants. All of that I lump into plants. If I had to choose one thing that I could not do without, it would be plants. Not some of the other arts that I do love so much. I do love singing though a lot, and but I think if I had to lose my voice, I would lose my voice for plants. I just love them that much. So that is, what was the question again? That is what my main hobbies are, other than plants. Being trapped in bed, plants are my absolute main hobby right now, because it's what I can do the most, and pretty much all of my energy is focused on plants, and I mean all of it. I don't do dishes, I don't sweep my floor, like almost ever. I am so sick. I am in bed most of the time, and my darling husband, I tend to be a workaholic, and so he has been like, no, if you feel like getting up, you are required to do something fun. You are not allowed to work, because I just get into it and I just go and clean, and I literally wind up passing out and vomiting on the floor because I get so focused on things. And so he has been the knight in shining armor in so many ways. You have no idea, guys. He is so amazing. But and his name is Jesse, in case anyone wonders. But he has instructed me, as has my doctor and counselor, etc., that I need to do fun things when I have a tiny bit of energy, which is the hardest thing I have ever done in my life, is to not do things that need to be done. So my plants are a good balance, because they need me, in that it motivates me to try and get up even when I'm shaky, you know, and exercise my muscles or do things a bit. It stimulates my brain, all of these things. But if I get sick for a month, my husband can water and take over, you know, and they're pretty self-sufficient. Being succulents, they go weeks and months without being watered or even looked at quite often. So that's, or at least they did. I'm getting better now, and a lot more able to deal with that. So all of my energy pretty much is going to tending my plants right now. All of my microscopic amounts of energy. For those of you that don't know, I was really deathly ill. I don't know if I went into that in my video here. I can't remember. I started making another video, and then someone called me right in the middle of it, and so I'm having trouble remembering what I was saying, because I didn't get nearly all the way through it, or what I said in this one. But for any of you that don't know, I have been very deathly ill, and so I am slowly getting my strength back, but I am very strictly instructed to use it for fun things. And so that's what I've been doing. and these videos are part of that, and sharing with you guys and interacting. So if anyone's like, oh wow, she's online a lot, yes I am, because I'm in bed, and it's a lot of fun. And as my health improves, I will probably be available less online just because I'll be doing a lot more, but for now it's a lot of fun and it keeps me occupied. So alright, this video is a friggin' 40 minutes long. I cannot believe it. I'm wrapping up. The end. I love you guys. Thank you for tagging me, Marija. I am so excited to have done this and so happy to see all of your videos. And if anyone else is watching this that does succulent videos, consider yourself tagged. I'm terrible with names and I'm terrible with remembering all of these people, but if you grow succulents, you should do this video also and answer these questions, because it's so much fun for our viewers just to get to know a little bit more about what's going on and just to introduce us to each other a little bit more. It's a lot of fun. So that's it for today. I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you're having a great day and happy growing.